Okay, welcome back everybody to episode 37 of Everything Everywhere All at Once, finding meaning and certainty in all the chaos and mayhem around us. And I want to start out by sharing with you a quote, or you may call it a poem or a phrase, that was read by Nelson Mandela at his inaugural speech back in 1994 when he became president of South Africa. Some of you know exactly what I'm going to say. After spending 27 years in jail for a crime he never committed, but not doing anything, he was inaugurated. And after the inauguration, a lot of his followers, when they went down, it was at a football stadium or a rugby stadium, right? And they said, right, now we can reap retribution. And Nelson Mandela said, no, there is no retribution. It's a new day, a new beginning. And if we were to do what they did to us, then we become them. And that's not who we are. The power of forgiveness. Now, in the face of atrocities that were committed by the apartheid movement on South Africans. Unbelievable, terrible atrocities. And yet he found it within himself to forgive. That is the power of forgiveness. And I want to share with you this quote that actually was written by Marianne Williamson, and it was written in her book, A Return to Love. Ironically, of course, Marianne Williamson right now is running for president to bring these divine principles into the political world in the hope that they can shape a better world. That's what we're doing here too, right? So we're aligned. So, of course, the poem, the quote I want to read to you is Our Deepest Fear. And these are the words. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be gorgeous, handsome, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are meant to shine as children do. We are meant to manifest the glory of God within us. And it's not just in some, it's in everyone. And as you let your light shine, you unconsciously give permission for others to do the same. As you are liberated from your fear, your presence automatically liberates others. Powerful words. True? Yeah. See, you said, yeah. How did you know? Did you look it up? Did you go on the internet, Google it? Is that true? No, you just knew. Where? In your heart. It was heartfelt. The vibration of the words hit you in your heart. So you see, what we're saying is we need to get back to a heart-centered world. We need a return to love. And where is love? You can't think love. You can't think it in the brain. You can't, with your brain, be in the now. The brain is either in the future or the past. It doesn't stop in the now, does it, right? But yet the heart is always in the now. So, what I wanted to do, I wrote a book. I've actually written a few books, but I wrote this book specifically 20 years ago in 2003. I know, it's 20 years. What have you been doing? Listen, everything in its time, right? But in this book, I have a conversation, a communicating, a conversation in communion with my higher self. You might call that God. You can call it your higher self, call it the universe. Here's the bottom line. This was a profound experience. Now, as you can imagine, I didn't believe it. I was scared. I doubted it. For a long time, I never told anybody. For a long time, I couldn't even write. Because when I would sit down, I go, this is ridiculous. And so what I would do is I'd put the radio on in the background. And the amazing thing was, of course, that the songs on the radio started to fit synchronistically perfectly with what I was saying. And this would give me the inspiration, the knowing that this was real, this was happening. And the songs began to interact with the lyrics in perfect time. And so during this experience, at one point, one of the songs on the radio, what I heard were the lyrics, "A New Religion, if you please." And that started another conversation about a new religion and what it would be. So I want to just read some of the book to you, because as I went back to the book to try and figure out what song was it? I couldn't even remember what song it was, right? And I went back to the book and I found out, and you'll be pretty interested to know where it came from. But I read back in the book, and I wanted to share some of what I read leading up to this experience when the lyrics said, "A new religion, if you please," because that'd be the last thing I thought was going to come out. Because maybe like some of you, religion to me has been a cause of all the problems, right? The wars, the death, the destruction. So the last thing I thought was going to come to my mind from my higher self would be a new religion. And I'm sure many of you are thinking that too. So let me share some of this book with you, and you'll see where this is coming from and why it makes perfect sense. So what would happen is I would write something and then my higher self would respond. And then sometimes everything would go quiet. I wasn't thinking anything. I had nothing to write. And I would become aware of the song playing in the background, and the lyrics would give me the inspiration to know this was happening for real. And it was breathtaking. And sometimes I'd be sitting there in tears of joy, just unable to express a word or say anything, to just be. All right, so here we go. But now, just so we're clear here, I am the only person that the higher self has ever spoken to. God doesn't speak to anybody else but me. So if you need to know you need any answers, you got to ask. I'm joking, right? So the question is not, to whom does God, the universe, the intelligence, the creative force that flows through everything, talk to? The question is, who is prepared to listen? Who is prepared to open their heart and receive that intelligence, receive that information? So in other words, the universe is talking to us all constantly, never shuts up. It's just like a chatty Cathy, right? But the question is, most of us are not open to it. We're not aware of it. And we'll talk about why, and why that is okay. And when we are ready, we will start to listen, and why. All right, so let's get on with it. So I wrote down in this conversation, what we judge in others, we are destined to become ourselves. And my higher self responded, that is also true. And it's simply so that you can understand what it is you are judging. Understand that the feeling underlying every act is one of self-preservation. That truly there are no terrible people in the world. There are only people who are lost, lonely, sad, unhappy, depressed, hurt, twisted, and upset. And these feelings, and others like them, can drive people to behave in ways that are self-destructive and that can be hurtful to others as well. The actions of every one of you will be experienced and felt by every one of you. Look and listen closely to this saying. What I do for you, I do for me. What I fail to do for you, I fail to do for me. If I hurt you, I hurt myself. If I fail to stop you from being hurt, I fail to stop me from being hurt. If you go to war against your brothers and sisters, then I go to war against your brothers and sisters. If I fail to stop you from going to war with your brothers and sisters, then I fail to stop myself going to war with my brothers and sisters. Here is the truth, like a bolt of lightning. For some, this may be all too frightening. You are all responsible for all this fighting. It's time for you all to understand that you can no longer assign the blame, the shame. It's time for you to grow up and stop playing that game. You have done too much of that in my good name. If you don't stop now, things will just be the same, and we will have to start this all over again. Then all your tears and heartache will have been in vain. So here is what I need to let you know. That you have come to a point in this amazing light show. A point of no return. A point of your own making. The moment of your own reckoning and grand awakening. You have together made this place this world a place of growth. And now you can now transcend the pain if you take this solemn oath. I am the living truth, and nothing less will be my mantra. I am the love of creation, which is with me always, even if I falter. I am one with all that is, was, and will ever be. I am alive because I am now free. I am because I am being true to you and me. And the song on the radio, the lyrics coming out of the radio, now and forever, I will be your man. Sometimes I just hold you. I am holding a fortune that heaven has given to me. I'll try to show you each and every way I can. And that song is Now and Forever, sung by Richard Marx. And the words then come back. So I would come in and out of writing, listening to the words, the response of my higher self, and then everything would just stop. I would sometimes go into reverie, and then I'd just become aware of lyrics on the radio, and they would fit perfectly, and I would write those lyrics, and then the words would come back. And so the words of my higher self. So it's time to stop blaming one another for what has happened. What has happened since the dawn of your creation was perfectly orchestrated to bring you to this point and to help you evolve. Now, if you look at the word evolve, the first letters are evol, which is love backwards, to return to love. And the last letters of evolve, VE, are an abbreviation for have, so that we can have love. To help you see the truth, to remind you of who you really are, to get you to see the pain in your own heart, reflected in the starving who mirror your hunger for love, and in the weak who reflect your addiction to selfishness, and in the afflicted who express your dysfunction. The tragedies of war, conflict, and destruction all reflect your greed, self-righteousness, and judgment. Every external circumstance, event, relationships, and even the technologies you have created are reflections of aspects of your inner state of being, individually and collectively. The lyrics on the radio come into my awareness. Disillusioned me one more time. Just want someone to belong to. Come, take me away. Dream lover, come take me away. I need you so desperately. And that is Dream Lover, performed by Mariah Carey. The words then continue. Your disillusionment is a result of your resistance to letting go of your patterns of behavior and the beliefs that support them. The lyrics on the radio that come into my awareness give me one more chance to make you feel. Make It Real by the Jets. This is the belief I ask you to nourish in your heart and mind. This is the belief I ask you to offer the world. This is the belief that can change the world. This is the belief that will create a new world. And then the song on the radio to give me inspiration to write what is coming next, right? You can imagine, I'm like, what is this going to be? What if I get it wrong? So the song on the radio to inspire me. The lyrics, lying close to you, feeling your heart beating, wondering if it's me you're seeing. Then I close my eyes and thank God we're together. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. This is the belief. Believe in me. Believe in us. Believe in life. I needed another song then. And so the lyrics come out of the radio. It's undeniable that we should be together. You just don't know how I feel. Let me show you now that I am for real. You're like a dream come true. And that is the song Back at One by Brian McKnight. And I say, wow, the power of love just keeps building. I could be singing those words to you or you to me. I'm confused. And my higher self says, it's one and the same thing, Stephen. Remember, it's time to remember that as you feel me more and more, you will find yourself in me, with me, being in my embrace, allowing me to flow through you, bring you whatever you need, be the light in your life as you are the light in mine. And if you take the word mine, the middle two letters are in, and the outside letters are me, in me. And the song on the radio, the lyrics coming out of the radio, no one's going to drag you up to the light where you belong. For 1,000,000 years, I wondered who you are. And that is the song, The Sign, by Ace of Base. And there's a bunch of other songs in it, and then the song comes, one of the lyrics comes, do you believe in love after love? That's a song, of course, by Cher, which is called Believe. And I respond, yes, I do. Good. When we have changed people's beliefs about the love of God, and we begin to build a conviction about God's love, and then unifying the conviction with that love, we'll create a faith so strong that together we will transcend the duality that confines you to a world of limitation. That's when you will begin to find that there's nothing you want anymore. That's when you will realize that the world of matter doesn't matter anymore. That's when you will find the wonders that I have here for you in store. That's when you will know that my heart has always been an open door. That's when you will find everlasting love begin to pour. That's when you will discover your only task. That's when you will see my face beneath your mask. That's when you will know I am with you now, forever, for eternity. As you can imagine, I'm as high as a cat at this point. And then I say, right, you make it sound so simple. And my higher self says, it will be simple. I have always said it would be simple. It may not seem easy, but it will be simple. What could be simpler than being and expressing who you really are? What makes it difficult is your individual and collective resistance to what is, who you really are. You are who you are. Once you stop pretending to be someone else, everything around you will appear different to you. It will seem that everything has changed when in truth, you will be the one who has changed, individually and collectively. You cannot change the world unless you change yourself. Remember what Barbra Streisand said at her farewell concert? We all want to change the world. The truth is, the only person we can change is ourselves. Yet if we do that, we automatically make the world a better place. And I write, assuming we make a change for the better. Well, that, of course, is a matter of perspective. And my higher self says, let me offer you some clarity on this subject. I have heard you say that everything happens for the greater good. Yes, that is true. And let me offer you a caveat. There are many things happening right now that provide the opportunity for people to wake up. Many of these events and circumstances are causing tremendous pain and suffering. Pain and suffering are needed to draw your attention to the dis-ease in your consciousness. They will prevail until they are no longer needed, until you all wake up. And the lyrics on the radio come into my awareness. Surrender your heart. And those lyrics are from the song by Leon Rimes, Can't Fight the Moonlight. My higher self continues, until you open your hearts, until you feel the love inside of you and stop the suffering. Or until you destroy one another and the world you have worked so hard to create. Yet, although these things are happening for you, lyrics on the radio come into my awareness. You bring feeling to my life. I want to have you near me. No one needs you more than I do. And I know. That song is You're the Inspiration, performed by Chicago. My higher self continues, these pains do not have to continue. You can stop them, put them to an end once and for all. And again, so I'm obviously needing a lot of encouragement, a lot of inspiration. The song on the radio at that point is, now we're standing face to face. Isn't this world a crazy place? And just when I thought the chance had passed, you go and save the best for last. Save the Best for Last. That's performed by Vanessa Williams. And I say, it's amazing, right? When I can finally write, I say, this is the first time you've spoken of impending disaster, of our self-destruction. Is it possible that we could completely destroy ourselves? And my higher self says, yes and no. Yes, you could create cataclysmic events that could destroy the physical lives of the entire human race on planet Earth at this time. No. You cannot destroy the essence of who you really are, because who you really are is not a human race. You are not your physical bodies. Who you really are is no thing. Nothing. There are no words to describe who you really are. No words to describe. No words can describe. Correlated descriptive thoughts, colors, sounds, shapes. You come from the essence of creation that comes to be, that becomes. Through the formation of light vibrating in a unique spectrum of color, sound, and shape. The vibratory field of energy cannot be destroyed. It can only change its form, hue, Lation. All the vibratory fields that exist are parts of the unified field of vibratory energy that makes up the entire universe. You are the universe and everything within it. You are all the senses that bring me pure delight. And when you transcend your experiences, you return, come home. You experience yourself in the full glory of your entire beingness that manifests itself, yourself, in an infinite number of universes, dimensions, realities, forms, beings, and experiences. You are constantly moving from the out-breath of the universal expansion to the in-breath of the universal contraction. This is the wave of creation. This is the wave of love. The ups and downs, the highs and lows, the hot and the cold, and all that's in between. Would you dance if I asked you to dance? Would you cry if you saw me crying? Would you save my soul tonight? That song is Hero by Enrique Iglesias. At that point, obviously, I'm high as a kite, and songs are coming in the radio, then I'm going into reverie, and I'm coming in and out, and then I hear, how can I just let you walk away, let you leave without a trace, when I stand here taking every breath with you? How can you just walk away from me? Take a look at me now. Phil Collins, Against All Odds. Against All Odds. And then the song that I talked about at the beginning comes on. A new religion is coming over me. A new religion. Black Velvet, If You Please. Now, I didn't even know that was the song, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I heard new religion, and I wrote, a new religion? And my higher self came back, if you please. Well, to be honest, religion is not something that I have advocated in the past. It seems that religion has been the root of most, if not all, of the tyranny, wars, killing, and general diabolical behavior that we as human beings have consistently demonstrated throughout the millennia. And my higher self says, that is why I'm suggesting a new religion. And I respond, well, maybe it's just the word religion that scares me. And my higher self says, remember that anything you judge, you hold in place. If you fear religion, you will find that the fear you have of it will continue to reoccur in your reality. I see what you mean. Well, my point is that religion seems to be going through some tough times. Many of our religious leaders seem to be coming under scrutiny. Church doctrines are also in question. People appear to be reaching for a new religion. I can't believe I'm writing this. I feel people are tired of being told what to believe. People want a place to celebrate their spiritual nature and be reminded of who they really are, to reconnect with one another and with you, their creative source, the source of creation. They want to sing, dance, and renew themselves. My higher self says, I agree. And I say, is that a new religion? Well, it's certainly a little different from what most people would consider a religious experience, or what people have been told a religious experience should be like. That is not the new religion I was referring to, though. Well, what is this new religion that you're referring to? My higher self says, it is the religion of self-expression. And I continue. I heard a young student's definition of anarchy recently. They had run a youth center based on the principle of anarchy. Everybody did what they wanted to do, and there were no rules. My higher self says, if you base this new religion on the word anarchy, you might find it more difficult than if you choose not to. As you read the definition in the dictionary, what do you see? And I look and I write, well, basically an anarchist advocates the abolition of government and a social system based on voluntary cooperation. And my higher self says, sounds like it has some merit to me. So Iron writes, so what if we developed a religion that promoted the expression of one's true self? The act of being who you really are within a society that's based on voluntary cooperation. Would that be a new religion? And my higher self says, it would be a whole new world. And I say, yes, it would, wouldn't it? Of course, there'd be no law and order. And my higher self says, well, of course, there will be some things that will not change. And that goes into a whole new conversation. So my point is, it's time for a new religion, a religion of self-expression, self-actualization, self-awareness. And we're going to talk more about this and how we achieve that state of being. So the song Black Velvet inadvertently was the catalyst, the inspiration for all this. And the song by Alana Miles, of course, is about Elvis Presley. Now, ironically, right now, Alana Miles is coming back to her music and to that song and owning it and putting it out into the world, because when she first released it and was singing it, she wasn't in her power, and now she is. And the song was about Elvis Presley, how he had become a new religion, that so many people loved him more than they loved themselves, more perhaps than they loved God, who also, at one time, John Lennon made a comment about how people followed the Beatles and loved the Beatles, and they were more famous than Jesus. Because people look for external saviors, right? And our Savior is not outside of us. Our Savior is within us. And we need to look within. Yeah, it's an inside job, right? It's an inside job. So that's the journey we're going to take. A journey that is relatively short from the brain to the heart, about 17 inches, where our heart is going to be our CIA, our Central Intelligence Agency. And the brain, which is a powerful tool, is going to be the servant of the heart. And we live in a society today where it's the other way around. So it's a religion of ourself, not looking for a leader outside of us, not looking for a savior outside of us. And so nobody is going to have power over you. You are going to have sovereignty over everything, because who you really are is powerful beyond measure. And it is not our darkness that most frightens us. It is our light. But it's time to tell the world who you really are and to be who you really are. And we're going to continue this journey in the next episode. Until then, sapere ord. Dare to be wise.